8 days. That is all it took for a 20-year-old from Canberra to rewrite the record books twice. On the 4th of July, under the lights at Hayward Field in Eugene, Oregon, Cameron Myers lined up for the Bowerman Mile at the Prefontaine Classic, one of the most stacked mile fields ever assembled on a single track. He crossed the line in 3 minutes and 46.06 seconds. A personal best, a new Australian record, a new Oceanian record, and a statement to the entire world that this kid is not just talented, he might already be the best middle-distance runner on the planet. To understand how big this moment really is, you need to know where Cameron Myers came from. Back in 2023, at just 16 years old, he ran 3 minutes and 55.44 seconds at Albert Park in Melbourne, becoming the second youngest person in history to break the 4-minute mile barrier. He was 9 days older than Jakob Ingebrigtsen was when the Norwegian superstar first cracked it, but Myers ran over 2 seconds faster than him. Myers clocked a 1,500-meter time that broke a record which had stood since 2006, a mark that had belonged to a Kenyan runner years older than him. The kid kept climbing from there. Training under coach Dick Telford in Canberra, alongside Olympic 1,500-meter runner Jai Edwards, Myers built a reputation as someone who did not just chase junior records. He demolished them. Later in 2023, he was trusted to act as a pacemaker for Ingebrigtsen's European mile record attempt in Eugene, quietly learning what it actually takes to run alongside the fastest men alive. Then this year, the improvements got even sharper. In January, he ran the fastest mile ever recorded during that month, anywhere in the world. He ran the indoor 3,000 meters in 7 minutes and 27.57 seconds, becoming only the 4th man under 20 years old in history to break 7 minutes and 28 seconds, indoors or outdoors, joining a list that includes Eliud Kipchoge and Jakob Ingebrigtsen. In February, he won the Wanamaker Mile in New York City. Back home in Melbourne, he shattered the all-comers record for the 1,500 meters on Australian soil, a mark that had belonged to the legendary Hicham El Guerrouj for decades. Then he lowered that same record again in April at the Australian Championships in Sydney. By the middle of this year, Cameron Myers was no longer just a promising junior, with a big future ahead of him. He was a genuine threat to the best senior runners alive right now. But even with all of that momentum behind him, nobody expected what was about to happen in the space of a single week. It started in Paris. Just 7 days before Eugene, Myers won the 1,500 meters at a top-tier meet in the French capital, taking down the Australian record in the process. On paper, that is a massive result for any athlete. But Myers himself played it down afterward, pointing out that it was not an official Diamond League event, so in his own mind, it did not fully count. He had finished 2nd and 3rd in actual Diamond League finals before, close every time, but never quite standing on top. The Bowerman Mile in Eugene was going to be the real test of where he actually stood, and what a test it turned out to be. The 4th of July session at the Prefontaine Classic brought together one of the deepest mile fields in the history of the sport, on a night when records were falling across almost every event at Hayward Field. Just minutes before the Bowerman Mile, American runner Nikki Hiltz shocked the crowd by breaking a 38-year-old meeting record and handing Olympic champion Faith Kipyegon her first 1,500-meter or mile loss in years. Sha'Carri Richardson was edged out at the line in the 100 meters final. This was not supposed to be a race where a 20-year-old from Canberra simply shows up and wins. Myers sat patiently in the pack through the opening laps, staying calm while faster, more experienced men jostled for position around him. On the 3rd lap, he began working his way toward the front of the field. Then, with 1,000 meters left to run, the pacer stepped off the track, and the real race finally began. That is the exact moment Myers made his move. He surged past a fading Hobbs Kessler and opened up daylight on the rest of the field. Down, Myers crossed the line first in 3 minutes and 46.06 seconds, and Strand running a personal best of 346.97 in 3rd. 10 different men in that race broke 3 minutes and 49 seconds. That is how brutally strong this field was, and Cameron Myers beat every single one of his rivals to the line. After the race, Myers could barely contain his excitement. He explained that winning in Paris the week before had felt good, but since it was not an official Diamond League race, it did not fully register as a real win in his mind. Winning the Bowerman Mile felt completely different. He admitted he had settled for second and third in Diamond League finals before, so finally breaking through for a win, and doing it in one of the most historic mile races on the entire calendar meant everything to him. Even track and field legends took notice of what just happened. Matthew Centrowitz, the 2016 Olympic 1500-meter champion and a 7-time Bowerman Mile starter in his own career, told reporters afterward that this specific race still carries the same weight it always has for every athlete on the circuit. Every runner circles it on their calendar every single year, and now Cameron Myers has his own name permanently attached to it as a champion, not just a promising kid chasing the leaders. What makes this run even more remarkable is how little the records themselves seem to matter to Myers anymore. He said he feels like he has already ticked off most of the times he set out to run, so now his entire focus has shifted to winning actual races. And that exact mindset is what carried him through the pressure of the Bowerman Mile. He even brushed off any talk of building a legacy, saying that in 10 or 15 years, some new prodigy will show up and break every single mark he has set. In his own words, there is no point putting emphasis on numbers that are always going to fall eventually. To him, record books are temporary. Being able to call himself a Bowerman Mile champion is not. So where does Cameron Myers go from here? The Australian is now heading to Glasgow, where he will prepare for the Commonwealth Games later this month. Back home in Australia, he is already being talked about as the best middle-distance runner the country has ever produced. And after beating the American Mile record holder on American soil, in front of an American crowd, that conversation is spreading well beyond Australia's borders. 2 national records broken in 8 days. A Diamond League title won in one of track and field's most prestigious races. And a 20-year-old who insists, calmly and confidently, that he is only just getting started. Think about the timeline for a second. He broke 4 minutes for the mile at 16, helped pace an Olympic champion to a European record at 17, and beat an American Mile record holder in one of the sport's most iconic races at 20. There are grown men with a decade of professional racing behind them who have never come close to a resume like that, and Myers is still only getting faster. If Cameron Myers can carry this exact form into Glasgow, the Commonwealth Games might not just be another meet circled on the calendar. It could be the moment the entire world stops calling him a rising star, and finally starts calling him what he has already proven himself to be, a champion, and one of the most dangerous middle-distance runners currently alive on this planet.